Good afternoon, Rotarians. What a great day. Friends, Rotarians, guests, and those joining us on Zoom today. Welcome to the April 21st meeting of the Rotary Club of Louisville. I'm Jean West, owner and producer, Faces West Productions, Paul Harris Fellow, and president of the club. Now, to provide our invocation is past President Alice Bridges, principal at AOB Consulting, LLC, Paul Harris Society member, Paul Harris Fellow, ×6, past club president and Rotarian of the year 2019-2020.
Thank you, President Jean. So Rotary has 7 areas of focus, and 2 of them are connected to the critically important work of our featured speaker today, protecting the environment and clean water and sanitation. As we prepare to celebrate another Earth Day tomorrow, let's reflect together on our beloved Mother Earth with this prayer for Sister Water. We praise and thank you, Lord, for the gift of living water. Guide us to use it wisely, learn from its humility, consume it sparingly, and protect its purity, so that we may be worthy of your precious life-giving gifts. Amen.
Thank you, Alice. And now to lead us in the pledge and 4-way test is Julie Skotsky James, Vice President of the Filton Historical Society.
Thank you, Jean. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, in liberty and justice for all. And now please join me in the 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated. And Rotarians, it's always our pleasure to welcome guests. So Rotarians, please take this time and approach the microphone, introduce yourself first. And your guests, please stand when you are introduced so that we can salute you.
President Jean, fellow Rotarians, my name is Greg Braun. Wow. I don't think Christina's here. Is Christina here? Did she have shown up? I guess not. So I have 1 of 2 guests. I'd like to introduce Joe Yurka. Joe, stand up. Joe is a young entrepreneur, 28 years old. He's got 3 businesses. He's got a pressure washing business. He has a training business, can you tell? And he also has private security. So when Jack Harlow comes into town, he only wants 1 person to guard it. So that's
Woo!
pretty cool. Welcome, Joe.
I chair Interact, and my vice chair is sitting here also, Rick Harden, and we'd like to introduce our interactors, so to our guests here. So this year's Interact board is, please stand, Brianne Reidinger, Vice President Leslie Mendez, Historian Albany Vergara, and Secretary Avery Coleman. Yay.
Yeah.
Year's board is partially formed, consisting of Avery Coleman, President, Up We Come, and Vice President Zamzam Mohammed, and Secretary Maya Johnson. Yay!
Yes.
We are so excited to have an Interact Club sponsored by Rotary. Thank you.
And there's Dr. Millsap there, who is their sponsor. So yeah, Interactors. Yes, Dr. Millsap, thank you so much. Interactors, thank you. You are our future, so we appreciate your being here. Roland.
President Jean, I'm Roland Bryant, and I'd like to introduce my guest today. It's my wife, Marie Bryant.
President Jean, Rotary guest, my guest for over 20 years, worked on her campaign, council member for 2 terms. She's former alderman. She was the former CEO of the Medical Office for Women, and she was Jefferson County Clerk. My friend, Tina Ward P.
Gene, I know I'm a guest, but I'm a frequent flyer guest. So today I invited my board president, the board president of the Waterways Alliance, Martin Young. Martin is all over the world, but he's here. And President Gene David Snyder, guests at our table are Ashley Newland with Allstate Insurance, and returning guest Dustin Moonbaum, agency title.
Welcome.
President Gene, fellow Rotarians, my name is Kelly Creek Sigmund. I am an interloper from the great state of Wisconsin. District 6250, the mighty downtown lacrosse Rotary Club, lacrosse, Wisconsin. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Welcome. Guests, if you would like to learn more about our club, please join Greg Sherman. Where's Greg? Is he here yet? But he will be over here at this table that says, "What is Rotary?" Okay, it is time now for the Cajun culture class. Everybody ready? All right. Louisiana has 5,000 miles of navigable rivers, bayous, creeks, and canals. Navigable, right? Board means that you are able to travel safely by boat. And there's two kinds of boats. I think we went over that, right? Pirogue and the other one. Anyway, so can you pronounce these Cajun country waterways? Number one. No, number one. Oh, where are they? Okay.
He knows them all.
That's the last one. All right, number one, all together. A meet. Number two.
Chapalaya.
Chapalaya. Who got that one right? Number three. Bayutesh. Number four.
Calcasieu.
Calcasieu River. Number five.
Washita.
Washita River. Number six.
Sabine.
Sabine River. Number seven. Tangibaho River. Number eight. Lake Maurepas. Number nine.
Lake
Oh,
Pontchartrain.
yeah, you know that one. Lake
Everybody
Pontchartrain.
knows
And
that
number
one.
10 is the Mississippi. Yay, good for you. Everybody got it. Several of our members were on hand to welcome the returning honor flights last night. It was really cool, including member Bill Hertzel. And thank you to Roland and Ashley for these photos. It's always a really good time and a sweet moment for those returning from the honor flights. And we have several Rotarians in the spotlight this week. Yesterday, I was a guest on Wade 3 Listens Live with Ward Wilson, who was our speaker, talking about our joint storm drain marking service project on Sunday. I'll also be speaking along with Mayor Fisher, Congressman Yarmouth, and others at the Earth Day News Conference tomorrow from 9:30 to 9:50. And you all are welcome to come to all of these things at the Shawnee Boat Ramp. It's a beautiful way now to get to the river, and Ward's are going to be telling you more about that. And our executive director, Delene Taylor, will be on Great Day Live at 9 o'clock tomorrow with Ward Wilson at the Waterfront Botanical Gardens. And two of our members honored by Business First last week at Business First Women's Event at the Convention Center. Paula Grisanti, new board member, CEO of National Stem Cell Foundation, Paul Harris Fellow and board director, and Kim Hallbauer, regional president of Fifth Third Bank. And Brown Forman announced a $50 million investment into partnerships with 5 organizations, 3 of which we have a connection to, including member Dave Christopher's AMPED, Kevin Fields, Louisville Central Community Center, as well as the West End School, one of our grants. So hats off to the foundation. Did I mention that the Earth Day Sand Island press conference will take place tomorrow at Shawnee Park Boat Ramp tomorrow, 9:30 to 50. And still, we need people to sign up for the Saving Our River Service Project this Saturday from noon to noon. We will meet at St. Mark's Episcopal Church parking lot at 2822 Frankfurt Avenue. We will be marking the storm drains with stickers that say, please don't dump here. It goes into Beargrass Creek. We need help with volunteers at the check-in table. So let us know if you're able to come and help. again with us today is from the Downtown Lacrosse Rotary Club, is Craig Sigmund. We have invited her to share briefly about a project that her club has been involved in for 20 years called the Brain Game. Let's welcome her.
Well, thank you again very much. I'm here to report that as recently as yesterday, it snowed in La Crosse. So please count your blessings. My name is Craig Sigmund. I have been a member of the Downtown Rotary Club of La Crosse since 2003. In July of 2019, I retired from a career running public libraries. Yes, I'm a librarian. Don't hold it against me. And I was asked by the club to become their highly compensated part-time administrator for the Brain Game project that began in 2003. It is a project that we've been doing that is based on early childhood brain development. It is a literacy project and it has gone really pretty well, but we're looking to kind of kick it up a notch. So I asked if I could have 5 minutes of the program today to briefly introduce it to the Louisville Club. By the power vested in me by my incredibly important position as the part-time administrator, I have been authorized to gift the club with a copy of the English version and the Spanish version. Basically, it is a project that gets this book into the hands of every parent of every newborn in the city of La Crosse. We have expanded it out, of course, to many other places, particularly in the state of Florida. And as recently as last week, I was contacted by a Rotarian in Arkansas. Her club is affiliated with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and they are interested in pursuing this. I have business cards with me today. I'll be sticking around after the meeting today. In fact, I'm spending one more night in Louisville because there's still about 2 tablespoons of bourbon left in my room that needs to be consumed. Can't leave without finishing that off. And I'm so pleased to hear that my investment in Brown-Forman is paying dividends here. We do have a website, which is on the screen. I would also love to give a Zoom presentation to this club if you are interested in pursuing this in the future. We've done quite a bit of that. So thank you, President Jean, for the 5 minutes. And thank you all for such a tremendous welcome to a Northerner. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, do I have time for that? Sure. Do we have time for the video that was on that website? Yeah, I didn't think so. Oh, we have a flag. That's right. Yes, the flag. When I first joined the La Crosse Rotary Club, this happened quite a bit. And in the last 10 years, it kind of didn't. And when you guys reached out and I got the email on Easter Sunday saying, are you going to have a flag? I thought. So I made a few phone calls and one of my fellow Rotarians said, well, I think I got one. Unfortunately, I think it's a flawed one because it's missing the 0 on District 6250. So consider it a collector's item, Madam President.
Oh, thank you very much. And I'm sure you'll be interested in what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I'd like to bring to the podium Mike Hull, past president, major donor, chair of the Rotary Foundation Committee, and much more, to the podium for a special recognition.
Okay. Today, I'm pleased to take this opportunity to honor Roland and Marie Blahnik, who have generously contributed to the Rotary Foundation and in doing so have achieved major donor status. Because of their dedication to our foundation, we honor Marie and Roland with the Major Donor Level 1 recognition. Thank you, Roland and Marie, for this support. So much begins with your generosity. You give to others, not knowing their stories, their faces, or even their names. In doing so, you demonstrate through your generous act that all fellow human beings are worthy of your compassion and our compassion. Your act of kindness is a seed of peace that will yield returns for not only the community served by your generosity, but from Rotary as a premier foundation and organization. You are among a dedicated and select group of humanitarians who have committed themselves to serving others. Major donors change the lives of children, young people, adults, communities, and the world to which we belong. Roland and Marie, please come forward and accept our congratulations. Your gift inspires others to give, not just of their treasure, but of their time and their talent. In recognition of your investment in Rotary Foundation's wonderful projects and programs, I present this crystal and major donor pins on behalf of the foundation trustees. And Roland, I wonder if you'd like to say a few words.
I just thought I'd share a little bit how I became interested enough to become a major donor. Some years ago, I've been a Rotarian for many years. I've been a Rotarian for probably close to 40 years. Not all in this club. I was in a club in Michigan before that. And frankly, I wasn't very aware of the Rotary Foundation at that point. And my moment of awareness came when they started the Polio Plus campaign. And I started donating to the foundation because of Polio Plus. And then through the years, I became more aware of the international programs and how important they are. And while Mike said we often give money for people we don't meet, if you travel internationally and go out of your way a little bit, you might even be able to meet people who have benefited from the Rotary International. I was lucky enough pre-pandemic to travel to Kenya. And in Kenya, I met dozens of school children who had benefited from the Rotary International project. And that, of course, motivates one to be charitable toward our Rotary Foundation. So thank you all for this recognition.
It's a major donor. Congratulations and thank you, Roland, for your service. This past September, many of you may remember, your club was chosen to launch the inaugural Saving Our Rivers service cruise, along with the American Steamboat Company's American Duchess cruise ship. It's a 9-day cruise with 8 stops along the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, in which Rotary-sponsored river-related projects were done at each stop. Before that, in June, we proposed to our board that we enter into a formal memorandum of agreement with Kentucky Waterways Alliance for our projects to work together on strategies to remove trash and pollutants from stormwater that reaches streams in the Louisville area that empty into the rivers. The board agreed. So I'm thrilled that during this Earth Week, we are excited to execute our first collaborative service project in collaboration with the Kentucky Waterways Alliance, in line with Rotary International's new focus, as Alice said, on the environment. And our speaker will tell you much more. Ward Wilson became executive director of Kentucky Waterways Alliance in February 2017, after serving on the board since 2010. He's been an active member of KWA for more than 25 years. He's a Kentucky native, has always enjoyed water, as his picture shows. I mean, that's a guy who loves his job. He studied biology at the University of Kentucky, lived in Colorado and other states for several years, and then earned a Master's of Science in Environmental Engineering from Virginia Tech. He is a licensed professional engineer in Kentucky and a board certified environmental engineer. A consulting engineer for over 25 years, he says he's found his dream job at KWA. Ward Wilson.
Thank you, President Jean. I don't hear my resume spoken out very much. So happy Earth Week. It's a big week for us at KWA and for everybody who loves water, which I'm sure is everyone in this room. We all love the Ohio. It's right there. So yeah, we started out Saturday. We had a cleanup on Harrods Creek and it was great. We had twice as many people as we expected, but that was fine. And then yesterday I was on TV with Gene, and then today I'm speaking to you all. Actually, this morning I got to go 200 feet below the ground. I was actually under the Ohio River this morning. Tina was with me. We're on an advisory group to MSD, and they allowed us to go see the Waterways Protection Tunnel. It'll be a tunnel that'll hold water during rain events to keep sewers from overflowing, which is really an important thing. Raw sewage, when it rains, goes out into the Ohio River and Beargrass Creek and other creeks, and that's just terrible in a first world country that we have raw sewage going into the stream. So it's a big step towards stopping that. So I'm going to talk to you today about our service project mostly and some of the things we're doing, and just remind you we do have an MOU with you all, and we've been working together. I've also been working with what we're calling ourselves the science group. Bernie Stranecki, Dr. Jason Polk, and Gail Story, and Ralph Young from Paducah Rotary Club. We're working on trying to come up with projects that Rotary clubs can do. And if you come to the district annual meeting in May in Owensboro, we'll be there and kind of trying to find bite-sized things that clubs can take on. And, our interest in this is we're tapping into people that didn't know us before. As she said, we've been around for 29 years this year. We just had our 29th birthday, and a lot of people don't know us. So I want you all to know us. I'm reminding you, because some of you saw me in November. So I'll remind you, our mission is to protect, restore, and celebrate Kentucky's unique waterways and their watersheds. We are the only organization that focuses on water statewide. There's a lot of groups that work on different waterways, but we're the statewide group. And we were formed because there was no statewide coordinating group. And we are very collaborative. We aren't top down. We don't tell anybody what to do. We just try to help local groups. Like in the Red River, we helped write a watershed plan. The Red River, if you know, the Red River Gorge, it's beautiful. It's great. It's really a high quality stream, but it's not 100% good. There's a lot of sediment that comes from all the recreation that happens there. And there's also leaking septic tanks. Again, raw sewage, it's not good. So we are working with the Forest Service. We have been for years. We wrote the plan, we got it approved. And we've removed about 25 septic tanks that were leaking, replaced them. So we're still working on that. And we removed 2 dams from the Green River. Well, 1.5. We're still removing one of the dams. So those are a few things we do. And a lot of what we do is engage with people. And that's what we're doing with you all. So if you go to the next slide, this shows all the different major watersheds in Kentucky, and we do work in all of them. It can be tough to get down to that 4 Rivers and Lower Cumberland, but we do have a board member in Paducah, and we have a board member in the Big Sandy in Prestonsburg. So we cover the state. It's a big state. I don't want to get in a competition on river miles with the President Jean, but we have 90,000 miles in Kentucky of navigable waterways. It's a lot to say grace over, as they say. So you can go to the next slide. So I think the next slide is about our, these are our programs. I think last time I spoke, I went into these a little more. I just want you to know, we do a lot of different things. Watershed management is that trying to look at a waterway, what does it need, and really engaging with the people who live there and the stakeholders in that waterway, and ask what do they want, for their waterway? Do they want more recreation? Do they want better drinking water? And then we work towards that. And there's a lot of science in that. And as you heard my resume, I love science and engineering, but there's a lot of communication and talking and listening to people. That's especially true in the environmental justice, which I'm afraid we came a little late to that game, but we are fully engaged with environmental justice now. the people that are most affected by pollution are generally or predominantly people of color and lower income people. And we haven't met that need. And the conservation business or the conservation world has just not been diverse enough, but it's changing, and it's changing quickly. And the younger people are going to change it. The person that comes after me is going to do a lot more, but we're getting there. Water policy is kind of our watchdog role. We make sure the regulations are in place, and we make sure they're enforced. We get a lot of calls about people seeing things they don't think is right. We try to look into those. We comment every time the water quality standards are up for renewal, and they are really complex. There's a lot of toxicology in water quality standards and water chemistry and stuff like that. And we know how to comment on those, and we always try to find some things to praise. And there are some good changes to water quality standards, but sometimes we push the state. Sometimes we make them uncomfortable, but we're the ones speaking up for the waterways. Community engagement, again, is what we're doing here. We want people to know and care about waterways. And we start off with everybody loves water, but not everybody understands some of the issues. And we try to have fun, but educate at the same time. And restoration projects, as I mentioned, like, taking out septic tanks or replacing septics or taking out dams. These dams that we're removing, I say we do it. We're not doing it by ourselves. We do everything with partnerships. And we're working with the Corps of Engineers and Fish and Wildlife Service and others, but we're taking out dams that are obsolete. They're not being used anymore, but they're hazards to navigation. People have died at some of these dams, and they're not good for the ecology of the stream. So I think the next slide is about what we're going to do this Saturday. I will say, just to mention, tomorrow there is the Sand Island project. We've called it Sand Island event. We're actually not going to go to Sand Island because the river's up. The river is going to crest it at 30 feet, which is pretty high. It's not going to be safe to get out there in canoes. So we're going to stay on land at Shawnee Boat Ramp. And then there's also going to be and we're going to clean up. And when you're cleaning up litter, you're cleaning up streams because litter ends up in the streams. And then there's going to be a cleanup over at Falls of the Ohio. Should be fun. It's Earth Day. It'll be a great thing to do if you want to play hooky from work and go do that. So Saturday, this is one of the things that was in our MOU. When we started our MOU with Rotary, it was like, let's do some water projects. And I said, okay, what do you want to do? And they said, what do you got? So the way I put it together, I said, this is like a menu. You can order from it. You're not going to order everything on the menu. We can do some really big things. We can do some littler things. We can do some medium. So one of the things we're doing is doing storm drain marking. You can see some of our previous storm drain marking projects have been with some Girl Scouts up in the upper right. That's either the Girl Scouts or Bellarmine. Okay, good. I can't tell young ages of people that young anyway. So we did, but we've worked with Bellarmine too. And if you go to Bellarmine's campus, there's these little guys are all over every catch basin. And the idea is a lot of people see a drain and it's constructed and it's a pipe and say, oh, that must go to the treatment plant. So some people dump stuff in there like paint or motor oil. Some people will pull their car up to there, and we've all seen the movie Christmas Vacation where Cousin Eddie dumps stuff in the drain. Those don't get treated. That goes right out to the river. And so we put these on the there's a picture too. We put these on the storm grate, and it lets people know. It says, don't dump here. It drains to the creek. And I like that it tells you what creek it goes to. So people realize, oh, what I do up here on Frankfurt Avenue really affects the creek way down there. I can't even see it. So it's pretty simple. There's kind of two main ways to do this. Sometimes you stencil. And if any of you went on the river project or know about it, in Paducah, Ralph Young and a bunch of Interact people went out, Rotaract, I think, went out and stenciled on the street. It's the same message. So you have a little stencil and you use spray paint. It's quick, it's easy, but it doesn't last very long. These will last for years and years. So basically what you do, it's sort of like you take a piece of bread and you put some adhesive on there, like peanut butter, and you just stick it on there. So it's pretty easy. It'll be an easy project to do. We'll have some maps. You just go down the street and stick these on drains. And at the end, you'll be making a change that'll last for years. So while I've got my props out, I want to let you know I've put out some of our information on some of the tables, and there's information over here. This is our latest newsletter, hot off the press. And so you can read more about some of the things we do that I couldn't tell you about. I've got stickers for free. I really love this sticker because it's an actual fish. It's not a cartoon fish. There's a real fish called the Kentucky arrow darter, and it's endangered. And they live in the Red River Gorge area. And it's a cool little fish. And these are on your table too, if you want to know more information about the event that we're having. And I think the next slide will show this. Oh, no. Well, let me just tell you where we're going to be. I think we mentioned briefly, we're going to be in Crescent Hill, and we'll be at St. Mark's Episcopal Church, which is right. Well, the address is on there. It's the only Episcopal church that I know of on that section of Frankfort Avenue. And so we'll be in the neighborhoods off to the side. We're not going to be in any high traffic areas. That would be one thing. When you're doing this work, somebody keep your head up and make sure you don't get hit by a car. That's the only, I think that's the only hazard to this. So the stream that we are working on is the Middle Fork Beargrass Creek. Bear Creek has 3 forks. The largest fork is South Fork, which goes all the way down to Butual and comes up through Germantown and Shelby Park. Middle Fork starts way out in Anchorage, and it comes through St. Matthews, and then it goes through Seneca and Cherokee Parks. So I'm sure we've all seen it. And then it goes down into Butchertown. Well, about Butchertown is where it combines with the South Fork. And then they combine with the Muddy Fork, which most people have seen it along I-71. It starts up in Indian Hills and Windy Hills. And so they all come together. It's about 61 square miles, but it's the heart. It's a big part of our community. It's a really important stream. A lot of people know that it's got sewer overflows and they think it's really a bad stream. It does have its problems, but it's beautiful in a lot of places, and there is still wildlife in it. And if we just let up on it a little bit and give it a chance, it's going to come back even more. So this is a map of the area that we're looking at, and I know you can't read the streets, but on the right, on the east end is it's Stilts Avenue, which is over there by the water company, and the road that goes across from right to left is Frankfort Avenue, and it goes to Grinstead. So between Frankfort Avenue and Grinstead, in those streets that run north. So I think the next one is probably, yes, a little bit, here's the information that's on the flyer. This is what the flyer is that's out there. There are a few on the tables, and it's all over the web. If you want to find out more about us, Kentucky Waterways Alliance, kwalliance.org. We're on the web. We're probably most prolific on Facebook and Instagram. And I just want to thank you all for partnering with us, because it's really helped us reach a lot more people and brought a lot of energy to us. And looking forward to seeing as many people as can come on Saturday. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Do you have a question? Do you have a question?
Thank you, President Gene. Well, thank you so much for that. I'm Dan Maloney, the director of the zoo here. Tell me again, please, what's the species?
It's the Kentucky arrow darter. These species change a lot. There are a lot of darter species, and I think this used to be maybe the relic. There was a relic darter. Yeah.
Do you know, is Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources, are they head starting this species at all? Are they ready to work with this?
I think it's mostly the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I know that it's Mike Floyd, who's the fish guy at U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And actually, I went out with Mike to the Red River Gorge, and we shocked up some of them. And so yes, there's definitely work being done right now. That what they're doing is they're designating critical habitat. I think they've already designated the critical habitat.
So this is a federally listed species.
Yes.
It's not a state class.
It is. It is federally listed.
So I just want to let you know, we'll talk. Maybe we can talk.
Yeah,
about
I'd love to
state
talk to you.
We're working with Fish and Wildlife on hellbenders and some other things.
Oh, great.
So-
Hellbenders are such a cool animal, and they're an indicator of high quality water and a
Absolutely.
reason to not go out and turn over rocks because they live under rocks.
Third largest amphibian in the world. Right?
Yeah.
I want to let you know, in the spirit, and I want to make sure my fellow Rotarians do as well. In the spirit of birthday, because we're celebrating the zoo, we did a Beargrass Creek cleanup on our side.
Yeah, you're on Beargrass. You're on the South Fork.
Right, last week, we did that last Saturday. In the spirit of keeping our waterways, clean, even Louisiana's second most waterways. I've asked, I talked to Deline and Amanda, I talked to Angie. We're no longer going to have straws.
Good.
Unless you want, we're not gonna
Yeah,
have them on the table. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I think that would be
Good,
stewardship
good for the
of-
stream, good for the wildlife. Right?
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Look, no, I don't have a question, I just have a statement. The members of this club know we recently completed a clean water project in Uganda. As part of the effort, when we started, I approached the Lexington Rotary Club about partnering with us on that project. And to your point about statewide, they declined because they were actively working on a clean water project in Wesley County, Kentucky. So it's not an international problem, it's also a local problem.
It really is. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard about what's happening in Martin County, and it's not just Martin County.
No, what's happening in Martin?
In Martin County is just, their water bills are way more than we pay here. Their water quality is terrible. It's really inefficient. And it's an example of a small community that just doesn't have the money to treat their water. It's really a shame. In Kentucky, we have places where you can't get clean water out of your tap.
Kelly Green Sigmund, Integral Park. Within the last 2 years, the city of La Crosse has discovered a problem with our water concerning PFAS.
Oh, yes, we know about PFAS.
Are you dealing, all I know is that one of the P's stands for poly. That's
Yeah,
all I remember.
it's a tough
Are
acronym.
you experiencing similar in the state of Kentucky?
Yes, unfortunately, we're finding it. I think the problem with PFAS, and there's a centerfold article in our newsletter about PFAS because it's such a complex thing, but it's basically comes primarily from the manufacture of Teflon, and they were calling it a forever chemical because it just doesn't break down, and that's concerning because it's building up. We probably all have some in our tissues, and we don't know what the limits, how much is bad. We're still learning. We do know that people exposed to high levels get cancer, and it's really serious. So it's being studied now. They've looked at drinking water intakes all up and down the river, and there's something about that here on our website. And they're finding it at part per trillion levels. We just don't know yet, but it's a concern, how bad it is. Yeah.
Thank you, Warren. I'm Rick Harden. We've had the pleasure of working with Ward over several years.
Many years.
Building invasive species in Cherokee Park, and have done a lot of good times there. But Ward, I'm curious. There's been a lot of information recently about the federal government's big infrastructure bill that is providing a lot of money to state governments for transportation, bridges, and a variety of improvements. Is water quality included in that? And what kinds of ways can we look for some assistance from that federal money in improving our water quality?
Yes, somewhat, I would say. As a nonprofit executive director, I'm always sniffing around for money. And when I saw that, I've been watching it primarily in the water area. There's a really big effort to remove lead pipes. And to address drinking water systems like Martin County and others. And so in terms of drinking water, we are working to make the water source as clean as we can. We don't usually get into the utility. So I don't know yet if we'll have something. Actually, we are applying for a source water protection grant. So maybe that it will help us. It has already help some money comes through Forest Service that we've gotten. And another initiative we're working on is there's an initiative to do a program on the Mississippi River. It's called the Mississippi River Restoration and Resilience Initiative, MIRI. And that will bring something like 300 million a year towards protection of that river. And the whole state of Kentucky drains to the Mississippi. So we're hoping that will be good for us.
Yeah, the idea and the purpose of this project that we started on was to start with the major waterways, the Ohio. I'm good. I have this one.
Okay.
And then the Mississippi over a 5-year period, right? With the American Queen Steamboat Company, which is now called something else because now they're international. They're doing ocean ferry ships. But they were concerned because their riverboat captains are seeing these things in the river. And that's how they became concerned about the quality of the thing. I mean, everything, refrigerators and things in the river as they're trying to navigate these huge boats. We mentioned the cruise, and Mort was on you. You were on the entire cruise. They launched the cruise from here. So we did not have, in Louisville, our Louisville club did not have an opportunity to do a service project like the other Rotary clubs did along the river because the launch was from here. And that's why we came up with the idea, and they were hoping to do it every year, every other year, to have a project in place for the launch for the next times. So can you describe what some of the other clubs did along the river?
Yes, it's a good it's a good cross section of the things that can be done. So they stopped first in Brandenburg, and Brandenburg's a small club and didn't have a lot of people, but we did water testing. There's some citizen science type things you can do for water testing. We work a lot with a group called Watershed Watch that does that. Then we went on down to Owensboro, and in Owensboro, we planted plants in some rain gardens. And rain gardens are stormwater systems that make the water soak into the ground instead of running quickly off into the stream. When the water soaks in the ground, it cleans it, it slowly gets to the stream, it cools it. It's just better in a lot of ways. Plus, you have beautiful flowers in rain gardens. In Henderson, we did a cleanup, and the picture that I had, my thank you picture was, we went out, we did a cleanup, and then Jason Polk and his students from Western Kentucky did a garbology exhibit. We put all the trash out on tables and we sorted it out, and you would probably guess most of the trash is plastic. There were a lot of cigarette butts as well, but a lot of plastic. And we talked about, where does this plastic come from? Where does it go? And then when we got to Paducah, we did storm drain stenciling, as I mentioned, and that was great. And then, and at every location, I think we planted a tree. And then when we got down to the end, the boat went to Alton, Illinois, across from St. Louis, and we sort of had a convening meeting at the end. So you sort of, what did we learn? What can we do to improve this process? And so the next step is at the district meeting in May. We're going to, Jason will be there with his students, and we're going to have like just quick courses on all these types of things you can do to all the clubs, and we'll see who can jump in on it.
So that's going to be at the district meeting. And if any of you are interested, really, try to register and sign up because it really is important work. And it's one of these things where all these Rotary clubs district-wide are collaborating with even the club in, at Alton, Illinois. That's another district, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And again, it's a long-term relationship that we have with KW. So President-elect Walt will be hearing it from him as well. Do you have any, I know it takes a while to analyze some of the things that you all did. Can you have any idea what you found? What were some of the findings from some of the testing?
Oh, from the testing was interesting. They tested the river water, but they also tested bottled water and then tap water. And one thing, and they brought some people in from the water plant, and it was interesting. They had water plant operators. Bottled water, everybody says, we assume it's clean. Well, it doesn't have the same testing requirements as tap water. And sometimes they actually found some things in bottled water that weren't unhealthy.
You mean bottled water?
Yeah, the bottled water you buy out of plastic bottles, which also contributes to plastic waste. I will tell you, when we have a lot of events where we like Saturday, we're going to bring all those people together. The easiest way to get you all hydrated is to buy a case of plastic bottles, but I'm pretty sure we won't have them. I have bought plastic bottles. We try not to. Plastic is a huge problem.
Yeah, what was in the water?
Oh, well, I think it was total dissolved solids. I think it was the solids, which is sort of the dissolved minerals in the water. And it was higher in, so total dissolved solids they're sort of the hardness. It's not exactly, but it's sort of the hardness of the water. And it won't make you sick. It can, if it's high enough, actually upset some people's stomach. But there wasn't anything in there that would hurt you. Actually, in the river water, for some parameters, they tested for a lot of things, was better than the bottled water. I think it was total dissolved solids, actually. So, it's interesting when you grab a sample, though. It changes. It's different today than it was that day. So it was just an interesting thing to show that water truly changes. There's stuff in, a lot of people think water is pure. It's just H2O. It's got calcium and magnesium and things. And if it didn't, it wouldn't taste good. Actually, you kind of want that. That's why our water tastes so good. And that's why it's so good for making bourbon. It's the only water that makes bourbon, clean Kentucky water.
That's right. And we were the first water company to add fluoride to our water. So
Yeah.
So it's spring, gonna be summer. People are gonna be out with their boats and stuff. Is it safe to swim in the river?
Yes, it is. Most of the time. Now it rained today, and I would say let's wait a day or two after a rain. Because when the runoff gets in the water, you do see the bacteria levels go up. And but it is amazing. This is something I did. I've seen models that show it drops right back down. Now, it's never clean enough to drink directly out of the river, but the river used to, I think a lot of us grew up in a time when the river was pretty bad, and they still remember, don't go in the river. It's really bad. Your legs will fall off. It's not as bad as it used to be. I wish I had a better message than it's not as bad as it used to be. It's getting a lot better. There are people I know now, triathloners. I'm sorry if any are here. I think they're crazy, but they do love to. There are people who swim there are people swimming in the river this week. Every week they go out there and swim, and they live to tell the tale. So it's better. It's getting better all the time. We need to keep working on making it better. And I just say, after a rain, let it simmer down a little bit for a day or two.
Is there anywhere you can go to find out what the bacteria level of the water is? Like a weather report?
MSD has they have a process. We've talked a lot about having there are places, sometimes beaches especially, will have a red flag, sort of like when you go to the beach and the Riptide red flag. There are red flags. The problem with it is if you took a sample right now, it takes a few hours to test the sample. So what MSD does, if you go to MSD's website, I think they still do this, you can look at their website right now, and there's probably either a yellow or a red flag saying it's rained so much, wait a while, So yeah, if you go to MSD's website, it'll turn green in a day or two if we don't get some more rain, and it'll be safer to swim. It'll be safe to swim in. It'll never be safe to drink. Don't drink it directly, but it's a great river. It's the beautiful river. The wildlife are coming back, and that's a real sign that it is getting cleaner.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow and Saturday. And again, please join us, Rotarians, and bring your families, neighbors, friends. If you have kids, teenagers that need like service hours or something, bring them on, and let's have some fun on Saturday. All right, I'm going to bring Todd back up for announcements.
Thank you, Jean. Next week's meeting will feature Angie Fenton, CEO of Xstall Magazine. Her talk is entitled, "Is It Always Going to Be This Way? How the Words of a 5-Year-Old Changed My Life and My Career." The menu will be lasagna and garlic bread, and vegetarian gluten-free option is available upon advance request. Please RSVP by 4 p.m. tomorrow or scan the QR code at your table now to register. Our club will be participating in Derby Diversity Week, created by Rotarian Tawana Bain and her team. we will have access to 50 wristbands to attend the Brims, Bow Ties, Bourbon, and Buyers beginning at 5:30 on Wednesday at May 4th. Say that 5 times fast. Which follows Rotary Day at the Downs. There will be a cash bar, light appetizers, and a DJ. Show off your best derby hat and bow tie. Wristbands are first come, first served, so please sign up now, and the link is on the screen, which will also be in today's follow-up email. If you purchase tickets to Day at the Downs, they will be distributed via email tomorrow. Our district conference will be May 20th and 21st in Owensboro. Several members have already signed up. Please email Rotary for more information. We'd love to have more folks there. Save the date. Craig Sherman will be hosting a party for all members at his beautiful home in Anchorage on Sunday, June 12th, 4 to 7:30. $25 will cover Mark's Feed Store, an open bar, live music, and a whole lot of fun. Look for a sign-up link in the email later today. Please review the weekly Sparks email for details about these events, important announcements, and this week's birthday celebrations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pat. Thank you, everybody. And again, congratulations, Paula. Visitors, if you want any more information about Rotary, that handsome guy over here sitting at the table who has all the answers. Thank you all so much. I hope to see you tomorrow and Saturday. Happy Earth Day. This meeting is adjourned.